give me an example that you may or may not heard of that quantum computing
Could solve.
could solve.
I was thinking about that myself, and I come up with nothing. But that's not just, it's not just because it doesn't exist. I just don't know. But
I think quantum computing is probably everyone just like, am I going to get a better date? Like,
yeah. Oh my God. People would work on quantum computing like crazy.
I know, right?
A better date. Yeah, I like that.
Real life issues.
Yeah. Well, that's what it boils down to, like for humanity, right? We're all programmed to make sure the human race keeps on clicking.
Keeps on going, happiness.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope that this is going to end up, it's going to help health.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it doesn't like segregate society even more from the rich to the poor, like where quantum computing is only going to be available to the rich.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have these highly advanced machines that could detect like health issues. They made movies like this already, where like Elysium or something like that. I forget the movie. I hope we're not on that path, and the path it's going to be for everybody. But it just sounds like quantum computing is just something that's going to be for a selected few.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's hard to say. I mean, at least with AI, right? You could.
AI is for everyone right now because it's like you could go to your web browser. You could go to OpenAI.
I mean, yes and no. There's obviously access is pretty democratized, right? I can pay $20 a month or even nothing, right?
But it's free, like unless you want a certain amount of access.
Yeah. But then what people think is going to happen, like, the pessimists, I guess, is that then if you are a smart person, you take an LLM, you can basically replace almost an entire company worth of people. And then you could become the first billionaire that basically has no employees apart from LLMs, right?
Has that happened already?
It has not happened, no. But there are healthy businesses that, for example, spit out YouTube videos, right? They're all generic, where you prompt it with like, the human comes up with, I want a video about how to date intelligent girls, right? And then the AI would basically produce everything.
There's a lot of channels that are faceless channels.
Yeah,
and
correct.
It's just
correct. And you have generic footage, right? B-roll.
It's just basically one big AdSense scam.
Yeah, correct. And so then if you spin this forward, I'm sure you could, why, like, let's say you have a accounting company, right?
Yeah.
I mean, accounting has to follow certain rules, right?
Yeah.
And then unless there's like some certification or accreditation, like a lawyer, I mean,
because if accounting's not following rules, you're going to get
correct. It's a problem, right? So anything that has to follow rules,
healthy letter by a 3-letter agency in the United States.
Yeah. Creative accounting is not a thing, right? Yeah. And so I think a lot of the companies where the information is already digitally available and they have to follow certain rules. I mean, there are very little reasons why AI couldn't really like take over, entire companies, right? And I think initially it'll be, you just get sort of like a productivity boost, right? 3-4x for like coding easy.
Yeah.
And then eventually though it's like, I mean, once we figure out that, hey, you know what, it's actually as good as a human and we don't need the human to double check the work, then I think the next step is, we'll probably end up somewhat sitting all in the chair and they'll basic universal income or something.
Yeah, so that's going to lay off some people? Universal income, that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, because I think, people have been like thinking about robot tax, right? Let's say you have an assembly line, right? And you say, okay, one robot is taking, I'm making this up, right? Like is taking one factory worker's job or two, right? Or three, because, it works 24/7. The thing is then people have been saying, but you should pay taxes for that robot, right? Because you get something, society basically is lacking that income, right? That we all need to kind of like grow as a society. And I think with LLMs, you might actually see that they get taxed depending on what.
So it sounds like AI is going to have a big impact in the workspace.
Sure. I mean, it already does, right?
Do you think AI will have a big impact in companionship?
Yeah. The chat bots.
The chat bots.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
Are a robot that's like basically what you see in movies.
Yeah.
Like walking robots, but with a human skin on it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the sex robots, right? I'm sure there's
not necessarily sex robots,
just companionship.
Just like a robot that looks like a person, but deep down it's just wires and ones and O's.
Yeah. I mean,
because I think that could solve a big gap in humans, because
just loneliness.
Loneliness is one of the factors of why people die.
Yep.
Yeah. And not everyone wants to deal with a real life human.
I know humans are complicated, right?
Very complicated. So what if, like, there's some people that just want to have all the good parts about.
Yeah, that's true. And I think you see this even now, right? That some people just retreat based from society, right? They do their job, work from home.
Yeah.
Don't have to interact with anyone. Then they use Grubhub, watch Netflix, right? There's basically.
So do you think remote work has impacted some people's like social abilities?
Oh, I mean, if you go out, right? I think every location just has a lot less people, right? People, I think, are just used to just chilling at home,
staying at home now.
Yeah. And then plus dating, right? You don't have to step foot outside, and you can endlessly swipe, right?
Yeah.
So I do think
that goes back to the time you actually have to meet the person.
Yeah. Then it gets dicey. Then it gets
dicey. Then it gets awkward. Like,
and so the robot, if the robot kind of like takes part of that world, right? Then you really don't have to go out anymore. And the robot
it's an interesting concept. It's been shown in movies all the time, but it might be happening.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen the Tesla robot, right?
Yeah.
Which, they're still walking all mechanically, but if you project out exponential growth,
there was something where like it could like be a surrogate.
Oh, well, it's a whole different.
Yeah, if you don't want to, the robots are supposed to be like, if you don't want to carry a baby to term, just going to be a robot that does all that.
That does all that. I don't know. Do you need but you don't need a robot that's walking around, right? You could basically just have it.
It's like a little incubator.
Yeah.
How, like, I just feel like sci-fi is becoming real-fi.
Oh, yeah.
Our real fiction, our real reality. Yeah. Not real fiction, real reality.
Sci-fi predicted a lot of things correctly.
Sci-fi... Right.
And even like Star Trek with the communicator, right?
And The Simpsons. The Simpsons predicted a lot.
Oh, yeah. Simpson, yeah. I guess shows you the genius behind those.
Exactly.
Behind those.
San Francisco is such a eclectic town. What do you think about the San Francisco dating scene?
Oh, my God. You didn't go there.
The Bay Area, San Francisco.
You know what they say? I think the one thing that captures perfectly is, what do they say? The odds are good, but the goods are odd, right? Because obviously you have like a lot more males than females, but then a lot of them are, not kind of getting out of their house.
Yeah. We've been to events where there's a lot of females compared to males.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, it's still self-selecting, right? If it's like women in AI, right? I think we were on that one, right? Then obviously a lot more women.
Yeah.
Because I guess most guys think it's not their event or so, but yeah, I mean, in general, tech parties are still pretty male heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's dating.
Same crowd though. Tech parties.
Yeah.
I think after you go to 3 or 4 tech parties, you start seeing
the same people
over and over.
And then remember, like, we were at one tech party at Shack 15, and like I made kind of like this. There was this girl with this guy, and I said, "Hey, you guys make a cute couple." And then then he said, "I'm not sure if we're a couple." No, sorry. He said, "Oh yeah, thank you." And then she said, "Oh, I'm not sure if we're a couple, right?" And then
how awkward was that?
Yeah. And then he started explaining to me that she wants him to get her $1 million in funding for her startup for that whole thing.
And then they're going to be a couple.
Yeah. That sounded quite transactional, if you ask me. But
there's a Kanye West song.
Yeah. It's like, and I think if you go to these tech events, right? I mean, we've experienced some girls where it seems like it's often, they want to be founders, like raise money, right? And that's their focus. And
do they want to be founders? Or do they just want the money?
I don't know. I mean, it's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope because being a founder of anything is very tedious. It's very lonely. It's like...
Oh, yeah, it's mostly.
But some of these girls, they want to be flashing on Instagram, living this crazy life. But
yeah,
that's not really the founder life.
No, definitely not. Yeah, and you're like, I also don't know if like some of them are just delusional, right? I mean, because to your point, right? There's sort of like you can take some money from VCs and then kind of like play this Instagram lifestyle and then have a company at the same time. But I don't know how efficient that is.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know how efficient this is, right?
Yeah, so, like it's like the IG life, real life. Saying you want to be a founder versus actually founding.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's just
because if you see the stories, like if you see the actual pictures of like the powerhouse companies now, like wasn't like Bezos just in some garage with a like with a makeshift.
Google was in some garage
with like
papers everywhere.
Apple was in some garage in San Jose. Like now these founders were like, I need $4 million in founding so I could be in a high rise in the city.
Yeah.
Like they don't have that garage mentality.
Yeah. I personally think it's a problem.
It's a problem, right?
Yeah. I think it's a problem, yeah. Because in the end, unless you're really in it because you believe in the idea almost like to like a delusional amount.
Yeah.
Right? You should not become a founder because, like to your point, if you become an OnlyFans or Instagram influencer, right, you can make a lot more money.
Yeah.
Much more likely than your startup actually.
Like that girl, I'm not gonna say her name, but she made $43 million in 1 year off OF.
Yeah. That is
insane.
That is insane. Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah.
1 year.
Yeah. And even if you're not at like the top 0.1%, right? You still
we need to get you a wig and go like this.
The ugliest woman on the planet.
Hey, you might get some subs.
Well, my gay friend always says I should get an OnlyFans channel started.
Have you thought about it?
To my yes.
All right, guys. Would you subscribe to this man?
He did say though that he believes most of my subscribers would be male. Like
I would
daddy, the daddy style. come zaddy, right? So that's what he said, and it's like, oh man, I'm inching so close to it's like.
What would your alpha? What would your like gimmick be?
Like I don't know. Yeah.
Would you like put on a flannel shirt, start chopping wood?
Oh yeah, that would be cool. I like that.
Like you would have to have a signature look.
Yeah. I think that would be actually cool. Although you probably know that guy on Instagram, right? That's the wood chopping guy.
Oh, I don't, but
yeah. So I mean, that could be something, right? You just need to find sort of like that niche, because it doesn't take all that many people to really make money, right? Not 43 million, but
43 million. I wonder. Damn, that sounds like How many?
Do you know how much he charges per month?
I don't.
Right? Is it
43 million?
$30?
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
You've been going out a lot?
I've been going out. Like initially, I was actually going out more when I was on dating apps.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. I thought like the endless swiping.
Yeah.
And then also some of the ladies I met. I don't know. I felt like it was more of a waste of time. If they're not cool to hang out with, right? Then it's right. Like, what do you do? I mean, there's one thing you can do, but it's obviously
Give me an example of like a girl you met and it was like, holy fuck, this is like 5 red flags.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sure you get some like ones you would love to talk to another time.
Yeah.
But you're like, or you get the ones like, holy shit, but
yeah,
girl got issues.
Yeah. So the one thing that was, I think, the funniest is, so this was probably my first or second date after being separated.
Yeah.
And so I had really no calibration, like what's normal and what's not. Right?
Yeah.
So I was just like all new, like deer in headlight.
You didn't know what a red flag was.
No. And this was also online dating, and she looked on paper, right? She looked professional, right? Well put together, like, had office pictures at Google and Adobe, right? And so she looked really like, yeah, she's probably an accomplished person, right?
Yeah.
Probably fun to hang out with. Yeah. And then I remember like I met with her in San Mateo at a restaurant, and she showed up, and then she had this little bag, right? And I thought, okay, what's in the bag? Is this like a pullover or something? And then it was like a tiny puppy. So the puppy was, I think, a couple of weeks old, right?
Whoa, she brought a puppy?
She brought a puppy into the store, and then she said, can you hold this for a second? So she popped the dog into my arm, and I thought, hopefully the dog isn't peeing because, this is not potty trained, nothing, and I don't want to be peed on. And then she started like walking around saying hi to all the staff. It was not her restaurant. She didn't know anyone. She just said, oh, I'm starting a company and I'm interviewing my future employees, and restaurant workers are hard workers, which they totally are, right?
Yeah. But shout out restaurant workers.
Yeah. And then, that was so wacky that the restaurant workers gave her wrong phone numbers. So she tried to call them, and the phone didn't ring, right? Because it was just weird, right?
Very oddball.
Yeah, very oddball. And then so eventually I said, hey, we're on a date, right? You have to really sit here, and we should really get to know each other. Yeah. And then she
treated you more like a personal assistant.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said at that time, right, I was kind of like, is this really normal? I mean, it doesn't feel normal,
right?
And then, it was just like getting crazier by the minute, right? Then she started telling me that she's a secret agent that not just works for the Vietnamese government, but also the U.S. and the Russians, so triple agent. And initially I thought, like, she's joking, right? I mean, who is so crazy that they think actually this is the case? But yeah, she was really just like that she actually really believed it, and I was kind of like initially like just giggling, and then we went. Then she explained to me that
you didn't go a second date with her, did you?
No. So yeah. Then she also said that the government is putting reptilian DNA into the vaccines, and by the 6th shot, we're all going to be reptilians, right? Like you've probably seen on YouTube, like the conspiracy, where like we're all basically, or people are taken over by.
She sounds like she needs to get admitted.
Or she was off the meds, right? But yeah, and then she said, "But Eric, you know what? You come with me to my place, and I'll cook a soup that rips the poison right out of you."
And she said she worked for Adobe or Google?
No. She just had office pictures there. Right?
Oh my God. I was like, they need to do better screen.
No. But it was like, you could have assumed that she worked there or has like some association with them. But you're like, I don't know what
like some sort of dysphoria.
That was probably where I think, okay, like so many red flags, right? It's not even
okay.
Wait, not like a little orange or so. It was just glowing.
That was like glowing red. Ferrari red.
Yeah. and so that was I think the craziest story. But then I have to say, like most of them, like sometimes you're not compatible, but I wouldn't call. I mean that person was probably the closest to crazy I've seen, but like the other ladies.
So when you go on dates, like when you sense a woman is a gold digger.
Oh. Yeah.
They're in it for the ticket.
For the ticket, yeah.
How do you deal with this?
Yeah, I think the most obvious one I had is we had a really great time, and I said, she said, "Oh, I really like you." I said, "All right, we'll just go out on a date and see where this goes," right?
Yeah.
And then I usually do just go for drinks, right? Because it's a low investment from both sides.
Yeah.
Right. And if essentially, you don't get along, like you're not stuck trying to finish a meal awkwardly, right? It's like, hey, you have one drink, it's not working out. No harm, no foul.
Like 20, 30 minutes. Correct. Like you kind of know where this is going, right?
Correct.
Hey, that's good advice. Like, guys, you don't need to take a woman to a nice restaurant first time.
Yeah.
Have a coffee, have a cocktail.
Yeah, and the only thing with coffee is, right, if what I always think is like you should do activities that romantic partners would do, right?
Okay.
But if you sit in a Starbucks, right, like bright daylight, like the child is crying next to you,
that's
right?
Too much friend zone, right?
Yeah, correct. And then it's hard to get like the vibe of the person, right?
Yeah.
Also, like you can probably not kiss her because there are like kids sitting next to you and stuff like this, right? So
public affection.
Yeah. And so I think drinks is pretty good for that because it's a little more romantic, right?
Yeah. What if she doesn't drink?
Oh, I've had that so many times. I usually suggest a mocktail, right?
Okay.
but I've had that, and sometimes I think it's just really they were not interested in going out, which is also cool.
They were not interested in going out with Erich.
Many, I'd say the vast majority is not interested. But and so I've had that a few times, and I always thought it was a little odd, right? That and I also tell them usually that it's about the company, right? You can drink water. It's really like just an easy way to get to know each other.
How do you know that they're a gold digger?
Oh, the gold digger, yeah. So, I mean, I think the easiest one was I was suggesting a date at a bar, right, somewhere in Burlingame or so, and then she said, I want to go to one of those two restaurants instead, right? And they were like some higher end Greek places, and I said,
she gave you a restaurant?
She said like one of those two places. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, but first dates, I never do a restaurant, right? Yeah. But I'm happy to go with you the date after, right?
Yeah.
And then she started calling me poor, right? and then I figured like at this point, I should have my fun with it, right? So I leaned into it and says, but I get my free coffee at Starbucks every day, right?
Yeah.
And then I was just messing with her because it was so blatantly a gold digger move that I just it wouldn't go anywhere anyway. So
have you ever told a woman you are in a different field than what you do?
Oh yeah, the standard joke that we always do is like I'm a hand model, right?
Yeah,
the shittiest hands on the planet, right? They're like callous and everything, but yeah.
And how many say, "Oh, are you?"
I don't know. It seems like I'm very convincing when I actually confess my profession.
Because we seem to we had a mutual friend of ours really believe that.
Yeah. Until he got clued in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's one of these things, right? You want to have a fun and flirty vibe, and then it's like, I'm a tech founder. I work for an AI company, right? Then like the interview style, sort of like not so playful, right? Is
so
really
it sounds like tech dating is almost like a job interview. Like
for some people, it is.
Yeah. It's am I getting to know you, or am I getting to know like your status?
Yeah.
But
I think also as a guy, right? Like often we think too logically.
Yeah.
And logically, in terms of it's logical is not necessarily a fun conversation if you have a couple sitting together, right? Because it's just not imaginative. It doesn't get you through like certain emotions, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of like flat, basically. And so,
because a colleague of mine, she has a very like prestigious position by society standards.
Yeah.
But when she told people what she does, she always said she did something else, just
to avoid
more common society worker.
Yeah.
Versus what she does, that what more of what society thinks is prestigious.
Sure.
It really just like filtered out a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Hey, get to know me for who I am, and if you like this, then don't like me because I do this, which is tied into what people assume is a lot of money."
Yeah. So and I mean, if we go to some tech events, right? I mean, you can tell that sometimes it's very transactional, right? Like the girl is kind of like sometimes really looking just to see like sort of like, is there like an advantage I can get out of this, right?
Oh yeah,
and so
they're definitely. I don't think they're dating; they're just networking.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, networking. Yeah, and so I don't know. I think we also started to go less to just these tech events, right? Because they're kind of like all similar, and then
very similar. And I've been taking you to some creative events, even just like in odd places. Just we've been definitely meeting some genuine people.
Oh yeah.
Hey, let's just go meet up at a bar. Just something like where all of general population is. Versus a narrow like founders meetup.
Yeah. Plus, it's usually the diverse group makes it also more fun to talk to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a tech founder this, tech founder that, AI this, right? It's all kind of like the same Same.